Friends, family, and keepers of the faith, welcome to another Delboy blog. And as always, we date stamp this. So this one is year 3, blog 45, or in legacy numbers, blog 149. And it's dated 29th of December 2024. And as always, I usually start off by just sort of like looking out my window and just relaying my thoughts a little bit. Well, it's a non-windy, mild sort of a day, not raining. There's a lot of cloud. The whole place looks a little bit bare because, you know, we're now in winter. There's no leaves. Grass is growing terribly, which makes the garden look a mess. That sort of thing. But other than that, nothing really to report. Although I do know that the weather around the rest of the country, because I'm in the Midlands, is a lot worse, and that will be portrayed a little bit in the news that we'll get to. In fact, we might as well get that out of the way now. Just to explain to anybody that's new watching my blog, I always put a news article and what's going on in the war in Ukraine because it's a date stamp. It's basically, this whole blog was intended to be a sort of a legacy for me, and was intended to be for my nephew and niece, who, upon anything happening to me, would sort of like help them understand what was going on in my head, my thoughts, what I like, what I don't like, and anything at the end that I portrayed that arrived this week would sort of indicate its value. If they ever inherit it, which they will, it will explain to them a little bit about what, you know, might be quite a keen thing to keep or something to sell. Who knows what age they will be, where, you know, when I'm going to pop my clogs, as my dad used to say. We don't want to talk about things like that. We're approaching the end of 2024. We need to sort of like be a bit optimistic. But we'll talk about the news, because that's what this blog is all about, you know, and I've got that portrayed now. We talk a little bit about the war in Ukraine. So the UK has condemned reckless Kremlin after Putin's apology over the Azerbaijan airline crash, which happened, by the way, on Christmas Day. The UK has called for an independent investigation into the downing of the Azerbaijani plane, thought to have been caused by a Russian missile. Mr. Putin said he was sorry for the fact that the incident occurred in Russian airspace, but stopped short of admitting Russian responsibility for the crash that killed 38 people. Yes, what a sad day for a lot of people on Christmas Day to hear of this downed plane. And there was a lot on the news showing internal camera footage of the jets and the wings of this plane that had massive holes in that some were reporting might have been caused by birds hitting the plane. That was quickly quashed. And the reason this footage survived is because the plane crashed in two. The front of the plane split away from the back, and the front turned into a fireball. The back was much better shielded, and basically survivors were there, and therefore 38 people were killed in this crash. And all to do with the war, you know, Ukraine drones, Russian missiles flying through the air, and airlines that need to be able to fly through this mess. There's no chance of them doing anything other than flying across. There is specific plain lanes that they have to go across. And it's very, very difficult to try and divert planes. And you would think certain areas would be safe, but it looks like absolutely nothing is safe during this war. I end, as I always do, with my wish for the war to end, for it to have a happy conclusion for everybody, that it's causing world problems, not only monetary, but emotionally. And we're so many years now into this, 3 years. Let's end this now. And I believe the big news will be when Trump finally gets to be the president, because there is 100 days from the moment he won the election to when he can actually take control. So he's busily at the moment writing up policies, and you will see day one him sitting at his desk ripping up old policies and signing new ones which have been devised during this 100 days. He has publicly stated he can get rid of this war in 24, or was it 48 hours? I hope so. I hope there's no bias, though, in it. So what's the UK news? We move forward, shall we? Just a few little things here, mostly all weather related, believe it or not. Here's one: the rail disruption after £100,000 worth of cable has been stolen. The disruption is expected between Chorley and Bolton. Yeah, somebody has stolen, or a group of people or a company has stolen £100,000 worth of rail cable. I dare say it's for smelting down for whatever is in it, copper, iron, whatever. That's what it will be used for. I can't think of anything else. Just bad that we just built. I mean, everybody is feeling the pinch. Crime will therefore be on the up. It's obvious. What do? Freeze to death because I haven't got 50 pence in the meter, or steal 50 pence from somebody's purse so that I can get heat. This is some of the things that are going through people's minds to get through this horrible period. And the politicians will blame, the Tories. The Tories will blame Labour. Whichever way you look at it, the blame game, we're in it. Get us out of it. That's why you're in power. That's all I indicate with this. Other news: fog has caused disruption to UK flights for the second day. More weather-related stuff here. Hogmanay plans are at risk as severe weather warnings are issued for Scotland. All weather. I'd rather have, though, weather newscasts than some of the sad news about deaths and so forth, but they're still pretty rotten, aren't they? I mean, Hogmanay is an incredibly big thing for Scotland. New Year to me, in my youth, was me going out on New Year's Eve with my friends, having a drink, wishing them a Happy New Year when the bell rang, and hopefully you might get a kiss from a girl instead of hugs from your mates. You know what I mean? You look forward to that. If you're single, you look forward to that snog, and you went, oh, gee, I got a snog from that beauty there. Stupid things like that you did in your youth. They're memories for me, which I have fond ones of. I mean, I got away with quite a few kisses back in the day. I won't go any further than that. I did have a girlfriend for over 7 months because of New Year's Eve. But that was, when was that? 1990. Yeah. Wow. How many years ago? Wow. Can I remember her name? Polly. Yeah, Polly. We went to Florida together that year. It was the year I think my nan died. Yep, she died in end of January of that year. So that must have been pretty hard for her to come to see my nan in hospital after only meeting me for 4 months. God. And we had a great time in Florida. It was my first trip to America, if I remember rightly. And we did a fly drive. And, the car we booked, they cancelled upon because the airline people didn't explain to me that you needed a credit card. Yeah. Just for the CDW, the collision damage waiver form. And of course, I was a youngster, not having a credit card. So they took virtually all of my traveller's checks. I had traveller's checks back then. And they recommended that I still have a convertible, but downgrade it. They gave me a Fiat convertible. It was more like a shopping trolley with wheels. And when you're on the big motorways, the freeways, you felt really, really not safe with all the trucks going by. And you're in this little thing. I think it was a Fiat Uno, something like that, equivalent, a convertible Fiat Uno was the equivalent British car. Awful it was. Absolutely. But all the other times that I went over to America, I had a Mustang generally, or a Spider convertible. Much bigger, you feel much safer in those. But anyway, that brought back a memory for me. The last one is a world story. It's just come through. At least 176 dead as a plane crashes and bursts into flame in South Korea. The incident is blamed on landing gear failing to deploy. Again, planes. And it is the safest way to travel still. I haven't been in one for a long time, since I think my last foreign holiday for a plane was 2007, somewhere around there. And I haven't had to take internal flights for my job. So, flying, a big thing for everybody. We couldn't live without it for business. And still safe, as what more can I say? So that's the sort of news out the way. Let's talk a little bit about my week. Just have a little sip. So we start off with Monday, and we're getting close to Christmas on Monday. And Monday's a busy day for me because of physio. I have to go for physio for a couple of hours. And what happened on Sunday was me making a phone call to the butchers to make sure that my mother on Friday did reserve the meat we needed for Christmas Day, for which my mother was adamant she'd done it. But when I phoned up, she hadn't. So I managed to book, with my mother's help, because I don't know weights. I've got no idea what I was ordering. We managed to put by a cockerel, a top side of beef, and some gammon. I love a bit of gammon with cockerel, It works well with turkey. And I think that comes from when I used to go to carveries, when you used to be able to choose your meats. Do you know what I mean? So we managed to reserve that, and on Monday we had to go and pick it up. So, of course, I get up on Monday and I get my mum up and we make a cup of tea and that. My mum's I haven't got energy to do all this type thing first thing in the morning. She never has. I keep having an argument with her in regards to doing more exercise, that her body keeps getting weaker and weaker because all she does is walk from the kitchen and back. It's not good enough. Her body is adapting to not needing that much energy, and so she gets tireder and weaker each day. I keep pushing for her to come for, I'll go for a walk with her, just down the street and back, not a problem. She doesn't want to do it. But anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. We needed to get the meat. So we went down together. We parked behind in a car park a little bit far away. And that's because there isn't really any car parking closer. If I'd have parked in the multi-story, we'd have had to have walked through the whole of the precinct to get to this place. So we parked in our normal car parking space, and I walked at her pace, which is very slow, to get to Bet's. And the difficulty is that you're going at your mum's pace, and you're going at the time when your mum gets up as well. And of course, I have to be at the hospital for 1, and we're outside the butcher's, no word of a lie, about 11 o'clock, maybe 11:15. And there is a queue that, no word of a lie, and I say that quite a bit now at the moment. I do apologise for repeating that line. It looked like the queue for when you wanted to go and see a big blockbuster film back in the 90s. I mean, it span round into the next sort of like high street. And we were talking to the people in the crowd, and they said people that normally are at this point are 50 minutes away before getting into the shop. So I said to my mother, go and have a cup of tea. I'll stand in the queue. It's not a problem. She didn't want to. She wanted to stay with me. She was having a nice little chat with the people that were around. I think my mum likes little chats with strangers. You know what I mean? And so we were in this queue for about 50 minutes. It was about 50 minutes. And we managed to speak to one of the butchers. It wasn't actually Steve Betts, who my mum has known for 30 years. She's been going to this butcher's. But the butcher came across and said, what do we want? We said we got it reserved. We changed the cockerel to a slightly larger one. My mum wasn't happy with the size. Well, we got a 4.75 kilo cockerel. So quite sizable, really. I think we didn't need that much, but Mum said, yeah, but we got Boxing Day, we've got New Year's Day, might as well have a nice one, and we can have sandwiches or casseroles out of it during the week. And I think that's where my mum thinks in the past is what we used to do, but she won't be cooking stews and and so forth out of it. No. So, the cat'll have it, I think. I know the one thing I've got to do, and it's just reminded me today, I must sharpen our blades on our knives. I've got a sandstone. I must sharpen the knives, and I must cut that meat into bits, and then cut the carcass, throw the carcass away. Be much easier to handle that way. So I'll probably be doing that this afternoon. So where was I? Yes, this butcher was very nice. He did actually get to speak to Steve, and Steve came over to see my mum, and they had a lovely chinwag while I was having a chat with this butcher. He was going back and forth to get this piece of meat and cut it properly, and we paid for it. I mean, it's an expensive thing, meat. I mean, the cockerel was it £45? So it was £45 in money for a cockerel for a 4.75 kilo, cockerel. And, I mean, I think overall, the gammon was £15 and the top side of beef was 20. So you're talking in the £70 range, So, it's a lot of money. And of course, I pay half. So, again, another expense and an extravagance, really. I mean, people will probably go to me, probably comment later on and say, wow, you spent that much money on that. But you have to remember it's what my mother wants as well. And she wants a traditional Christmas to remind her of how things were. I think Christmas is a lot of that, a lot of tradition and reflection. You know what I mean? My dad's not around anymore, but she thinks, oh, my son will like that. You know, maybe someone will pop round like my sister and want something. Maybe something will go wrong and they'll need some meat because something's gone wrong with the cooker or whatever. She thinks along those lines because probably we've had those things happen to us in the past. So, yeah, can understand it. But I had to then carry, what we have to understand here is I have to carry this weight because my mum can't carry it. So I'm carrying in one hand a 4.75 kilo cockerel, and in the other hand, the other meat, which is still quite sizable chunks of beef and gammon. And sometimes that weight would have been all right if I was walking at my speed, but I was walking at my mother's speed. And it was getting heavier and heavier, and I could feel the pain in my back coming. But I still kept at my mother's speed. We got to the car, travelled back, and I was at home. And then there was the getting ready to go to physio. You see, what happens then is I'm walking to physio, and then I'm doing a load of physio, which is a lot of arms and leg exercises. And I can feel all the weight on my shoulders. You know, it's like, wow, I've just carried this bloody great big piece of meat home, and now I'm fiddling around with resistant bands and kilo weights. And I'm knackered. You know, my legs ache, my arms ache. Still, you know, good. They measured my blood pressure. I did some things on an exercise bike and on the treadmill. And this time I had to go on the rowing machine, which I haven't been on a rowing machine in 10 years. And I did 5 minutes on it. And I was really proud of that because the rowing machine is one of those things that really could possibly do some damage, you know, sciatica wise, because it's my back. But I need to strengthen my core. So I thought I'd have a go. Why not? 5 minutes. What could happen other than, you know, being a little bit of discomfort for a couple of days afterwards? No discomfort, but I could only manage 5 minutes. Wow, what a hard machine for me to go on after not being on it for 10 plus years. Yeah. So that was good. I felt empowered when I came out, but I was tired. My God. Tuesday comes along. It's now Christmas Eve, isn't it? That's right. I have to get the odds and ends shopping wise that we'd missed. I missed buying some mint sauce and some vinegar to mix with the mint sauce. We had all gravy and all that sort of stuff, so that was fine. So I bought just a loaf of bread just in case we wanted to make sandwiches on Boxing Day. Odds and sods. So that was a walk there, shopping, and a walk back. I think I was just tired from Monday, so I fell asleep Tuesday afternoon, lost a lot of time, and therefore had a little bit of difficulty Christmas Eve night. Yes, because the next day would be Christmas. So we've got to now Wednesday, so it's Christmas Day. And my God, what a busy day. My day started at 5:30 in the morning. Couldn't sleep. So I got up at 5:30 and I thought to myself, why don't I get my walk out the way? And let's see if I can push myself. So, you know, did the normal, got dressed, all of that sort of stuff. It's pitch dark, by the way. Dawn is around about, what is it now, about just gone 8. So I'm walking along and I meet people that are dog walking. I met about five, 6 people on this walk, and I did 3 miles. I was so happy. I haven't done anything beyond 2 miles for a long time. Did 3 miles. And all I did was feel it in my legs a little. There was nothing in my chest, no pain, no breathing difficulties, just tiredness. And when I got in, I looked and thought, God, I better do some washing up, some tidying up. Try and be as quiet as possible because my mum will still be asleep. So I did some tidying up, washed up, put away. And then I thought, what could I do for the dinner? So I peeled the spuds. So I got these spuds out and peeled them with our peeler. It's one of those peelers where you scrape. It's a scraping one, not one like a knife, you know, where you're taking the skin off that way. So did that, and then put those in a pot with water, because I know my mum will want to boil them before roasting them. What else did I do? So I did some prepping of food. It was probably around about 8 o'clock then. So I made sure that my mum's presents were under the tree, because I'd wrapped them up the night before. And called my mum. So I called her down. She went, "Oh, doesn't everything look tidy?" Yeah, it was. I'd done it. I told her, I explained, and I'd done a walk, and she went, "Wow." Said, "You have been busy, but take it easy." And I went, "Yeah, I will." And I decided to do a video Christmas Day of gifts that people had sent me. Now, I don't usually do unboxings and all of that sort of stuff, but I wanted to show my appreciation. And, the best way that I could actually do that, I thought, was to show the unboxing so that people could see my face. The one thing that I've done over all the years that I've done for friends, I've bought stuff, sent it to them, but I've never seen their face when they've undone it. I've always had a nice message to say thank you and that I shouldn't have done that and all of this sort of stuff. But you never see the glow on the face. Do you know what I mean? So I did that video, and then I helped with the cooking of the food, because another thing that my mother can't do is lift huge pans out of the roasting tin to check it to see if it's been cooked, And we were cooking this cockerel, and it needed to be in there. What was it? It's half an hour per kilo, I think it is. So that'd be an hour per 2 kilos. So that'd be about 2.5 hours we needed to cook that cockerel. So yeah, every half hour we were getting it out and then just making sure it was basted and all that sort of stuff. The vegetables, I knew that my mother would have no problem with that. But I got the table laid and the placemats put down and all the condiments, all of that sort of stuff. One thing we did forget to get was a nice sort of like bottle of Prosecco or wine to have with the meal. So I poured my mum a Baileys with brandy. Thought she'd like that. I just had a Diet Coke because of my tablets. Generally, don't drink. So yeah, we had the meal. My mum was stuffed. I was stuffed. Settled down to watch TV. And what can you say about the TV other than what I've mentioned already in my Bar Humbug extravaganza, which I've done on the Monday? Because that's right, after the physio and everything, I had to do the Bar Humbug extravaganza, which was 5-hour marathon, which was brilliant. Forgot about that. So, I do recommend that you go and look at that. We had a great time and there's some fun things in there. The telly was awful. I don't care what anybody says. I'm an old fuddy-duddy. I'm set in my ways. But telly was awful. And this is the one thing that I hate, is that after that, no, I'm not going to use the word hate. The one that I find troublesome is for days afterwards, YouTube and some of its people will, I don't know if it's because they want to start a fight or something, but the fight that we used to have between BBC and ITV is not there. It's not there anymore. BBC don't care. ITV don't care. As long as you've got something to watch, right? The reason I say that is, if you ever look in the radio times or the TV times, the stuff that was on from 3 o'clock through to closing time for transmission for Christmas Day, for Christmas night, was virtually the same as the year before. It was all Call the Midwife, Strictly Come Dancing, a film, a comedy that you haven't seen for 15 years that comes back for a one-off special. All the same. All the same as the year before. You might as well have just run the same tape from last year. And it was the same for ITV. But there will be YouTube channels that say BBC dominated Christmas. Wasn't the BBC lineup spectacular? Was it spectacular? Now, if you are a Gavin and Stacey fan, it's great. If you're an EastEnders fan, it's great. If you love Strictly Come Dancing, you're going to be ecstatic over the schedule. But if you're not, and my mum doesn't like Strictly Come Dancing, she hasn't watched EastEnders in 15 years. She likes the ITV soaps. And she's not interested in Wallace and Gromit. And Gavin and Stacey can go do one as far as she's concerned. Then she's got nothing to watch. And yet, as a pensioner, she has to fork out 170 or 180 odd pounds for the TV licence. And this is where we go back over 2024 and we look back and we find out so many people that says, don't watch telly anymore, watch YouTube. Which is why I love the YouTube's output so much. I watch mostly YouTube Christmas night. I did watch a lot on BBC Two though. BBC Two seems to be, it's just like the radio, right? When you get older, you turn away from Radio 1 and you turn on Radio 2 because you're older and you like the older type music that's being played rather than the newer music. It's sort of the same with BBC 1 and BBC 2. If you don't like BBC 1's modern lineup, then you go to BBC 2 where you'll have the more repeats of Morecambe and Wise, Two Ronnies, all of that sort of stuff. That's what seems to happen with BBC. That's how they look at life. So of course, I turned to BBC Two and I watched a Roger Moore documentary. I watched a couple of films. Some Like It Hot was on there. Just trying to think. There was a Morecambe and Wise special from 1979, I think. Yeah, until there was a film in the evening, which I'd seen a lot of times with Dame Maggie Smith. So I didn't really want to watch that. So that's when I watched YouTube again. But Christmas night, relaxing. Tub of Heroes floating around. A nice drink. Chats with my mum. Yeah, great. So that's Christmas Day. So Boxing Day is much sort of the same. I slept a bit more. I woke up at 6:30. I went for a 2-mile walk, cleaned up, prepared the food because we had another Sunday dinner, a roast dinner. That was 2 in a row. We don't usually do that, but we had so much meat. My mum said, "Yeah, we're going to cook the other joints." So we cooked the beef and the gammon and the roast potatoes in a roasting tin for speed, and had another Sunday dinner, which meant more cleaning up and more prep, all of that sort of stuff. No problems with that. I wrote this down so I remembered for my blog. So I went to Sainsbury's on Boxing Day because my mum wanted the newspapers. That's right. The post office next door that usually sells newspapers was shut. There are Boxing Day newspapers, and my mum likes the crossword and that. So I walked to Sainsbury's after I'd already done a walk that morning, and got her papers. And we recognised that we didn't have a tin of biscuits this year. So I bought a tin of biscuits. Fry's chocolate ones. They were quite nice. And then it was watching the TV again. And just as dire as it was the evening before, to be quite honest. I think my mum was happy because I think I found the darts for her. I think they started off a darts tournament Boxing Day that will lead you up to New Year's Day. That's right, at the lakeside or whatever it is. So my mum was happier in the evening that day than she was the day before. Friday was all tidy up, PC tidying up as well. Did a cleanup of. Generally, I just spent the whole day Friday getting rid of crap files on my machine, getting rid of crap files that were on my Mister, cataloging, that sort of thing, so I knew sort of where I was, and played a game on Steam. And on Saturday it was blog prep. That's it. That's the week. Very, very, very simple. Very enjoyable. Absolutely no problems. Nothing to actually disrupt anything other than me to have a good time. There wasn't one thing that I could think of that upset me on that time in that time at all. It was just a really nice time with my mum, talking to some people, text wise, you know what I mean, not over the phone, friends, to make sure they had a nice Christmas. And it will go into my little time capsule of a better Christmas than it was last year. Last year was not nice. Lots of bad things happened last year. Lots of loneliness feelings. Cries for help, really, last Christmas. I relied a little bit too much on friends, which weren't able to help. You know what I mean? Like seeing if they'll be able to give me a call on Christmas because I'd like to have a chat about something, make sure their presents were okay, help set up some of the Christmas presents, because some of the things I sent out required you to configure some things. But of course, they have their own family. You can't expect them to always be around. See, these are mistakes I made, not they made. But yes, Christmas last year was more like a cry for help for me than it was a time of happiness. Spent a lot of money, and to be quite honest, I might as well have just kept it in the bank for me later on and not done all those things, because I never knew whether they were appreciated or not. I take it all my friends will be appreciative of things I've sent, but they never got mentioned or talked about, or you never knew whether things that you sent out to watch were watched, things that you bought for people to play were played. You know none of it. So you go through life going, what was the point? If they just stuck it on a shelf somewhere, what was the point? So yeah, I look at it as being a lessons learned, and this year was a little bit different, and I think I learned my lesson, and I had a much better time this year. So thanks to everybody that bought me a present, that spoke to me, collaborated with me all over Christmas that week, and a whale of a time. So felt so much better. That's all I wanted, was to feel needed or wanted. That's all you want in life. You don't need anything else. If you don't have that feeling in you that people want you around, then you collapse inwards and you turn into a person that you don't want to be, and it can wreck your whole year, because those sort of things stay in people's memories and they don't want you around because you're a moany, boring old git. Do you see what I mean? So, I think I did well. And that was my week. So I'm going to take a little bit of a pause because I don't think my mother's even up and I want to make sure she's got a cup of tea. So normally, I would be carrying on now and doing the shout outs and everything else. But I just really, really want to make sure my mum's all right because she's getting up later and later. So I'll get her a cup of tea and I'll be right back. Thanks very much for watching so far. Won't be a moment. It'll be like seconds to you. Won't be a moment. And we're back, and my mum's got a cuppa, and everything's all okay. And while I was just looking, I just checked my phone, and I see that my friend Steve has actually got round to starting to play my free games that I've given him to play over Christmas. And I hope he finds some fun in them. I'll give you a guess. Now that it's out, I can give you a guess, right? I'm one of these people that I'd love to be able to give him free games that I love, right? But I know Steve very well, and Steve loves his games, and he'll play anything that you ask him to play. But there are games that he absolutely stubbornly hates, and I think for the wrong reasons. It's just a matter of you need to read the instructions, you need to understand what the game is asking you to play. And some games can look like real hell when actually it's just you're not reading the screen. So I gave him a game that I love. I gave him an arcade game that I love and he loves, and a game that rarely gets played. Now, you could look at it and go, why the rarity of the game? It must be because it's shit, because other people would play it otherwise. Not necessarily. It can be just because people don't understand it. Now, every single game was a quick game, because the one thing I like Steve to do is die. Because he'll be going, oh piss, oh shit, oh you bastard, I hate you for choosing this game, you little shithead, and all of that sort of stuff, right? And that's where the swearing comes in. He knows this. And you got to understand that he's given me 8 games, and when I did my reprise and when I did all my friend stuff, every single one of his games made me swear. Absolutely. I mean, I must have come up with, well, just a mouthful of obscenity, to be quite honest. So I gave him a game that I love, right? And that game is Metagalactic Llamas Battle at the Edge of Time. That game on an unexpanded VIC-20. Remember this is 5k of RAM, of which 3.5k is available in basic. So you can just about squeeze a little bit more out of it if you're programming in machine code. Is just an absolute joy for me to play, because it actually taught me about angles, right? You've got this line that moves up and down, and when you fire, which is a spit out of a llama, it ricochets. So it learnt me about obtuse and acute angles. You know, the longer it goes up, the more it's going to ricochet round and probably hit behind you. The shorter the fire, it's going to just fire really, really quickly and only fire down towards the front of you. So altering that line up and down gives you more angles. I learnt maths through that game. And it's 5k of RAM. I mean, it's an absolute joy to play. I think he'll hate it. When I say hate, he'll dislike it. Let's say that. He won't hate it. He'll dislike it. Mr. Do, we both love that game. I wanted him to either end or start with a game where he goes, thanks very much, Del. You made me for doing that. Thank you for thinking of me. That's what that one's about. And the last one is just a SNES game. A SNES game that basically uses a lot of Mode 7. And it's one of those shoot-em-ups, really, that has 3 different weapons. And if you don't use the 3 weapons, you're going to die straight away at the beginning. So I'm expecting him to go, literally last 30 seconds, die, because he won't understand the weapon situation. I don't know what order he's going to play them in. I don't know which ones he's going to turn around and say, you get, and which ones you're not. But my guess is he won't like Metagalactic Llamas, he won't like Axlay, and he'll love me for Mr. Do. As long as I gave him something that he loves, who gives a shit, you bastard. Hate you, you git. No, seriously, I put a lot of thought in it, and I wanted him to appreciate something I like, love something that he knows he already likes, and show him something that he might not have seen. There you are. And if I come away with that, I've won. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to say, yeah, here's 3 games that I absolutely love and I hope you hate them, you little shit, or any of that. Or I just want you to see you die a lot, or I just want you to love every game that I actually give you. I want a mix, and that's it. And there has to be a game in there that means something to me, and Metagalactic Llamas means something to me. And it's on the Commodore 64 as well, but because of the higher resolution of a Commodore 64, you had a much bigger screen, so the angles were all totally different. The sound effects on the VIC-20 and the cramped screen makes that a much more hectic arcade game. And to be quite honest, it works on the VIC-20 and doesn't work on the Commodore 64. Simple as that. So anyway, moving on, we've got to do my shout-outs. Shout-outs. I love the shout-outs. The shout-outs are there for me to say thank you very much. You've all wished me a Merry Christmas. They've all asked me questions or comments. That's all I can ever ask for. I'll read them out verbatim. As far as I'm concerned, they deserve to get a little bit of respect. Most of them have got channels. I always turn around and say, look, these people are people that have got their own YouTube channels. It's how I got to know them. It's how they became friends of mine. So if they sound interesting to you, go and have a look. Most of the time my description has got links to their channels. I will keep repeating that, and because if anything of my blog that comes out of this, it's community. And I've always wanted to collaborate with these people, talk to these people, do things with these people, help these people, and also enjoy what they bring out. Now, I enjoy all the stuff that they bring out. We don't collaborate too much, but that's okay. The best thing that I can hope for is if they get stuck on doing a bit of research, they might come up to me and go, hey, Del, do you know a little bit about this game? Can you tell me why it's like this or whatever? I probably have the answer because I've been around for decades. That's the collaboration. And it makes me feel wanted, needed. I can keep doing my own stuff, but really I'm doing my own stuff to show people what I play or whatever. And that can sometimes get a bit boring. You know, it's like asking your mate to come round to show you your new game, but don't let him play on it. Do you know what I mean? It can be sometimes like that in my mind. And, you know, I've already got a couple of people that said, I've really been thinking about something that we can do together, but I'm drawing a blank. Have a think. The trouble with that is I'm blank as well. I know I've got the time. I just don't know what to do. I don't know. Sometimes the question is great, but I need to know more about what they've got so that I can go, oh, I've got that as well. We could work on that game because we both got it, or something like that. The closest I've got with that is probably with Mamemeister. He played a race game. I started to put some races together where I was beating his score. He could then use a ghost card to try and beat my score. That was quite fun. Something that we could have done together. But again, not a problem. He got the game, I got the game. We both enjoy the game. We've both shown off that game. We've done our job. Do you know what I mean? To tell people that there's something out there that's pretty fun. Like I say, collaboration could be there. It's one of those things. So anyway, just want to read out these names to you now. Every single one means something to me. They've all left a comment in my blog only, not in my videos that I've done. They are, thank you very much to these people: Jambon, Denny, Wee Bob Art, Steve's Gaming, Martroid, Colin Jones, aka Ponder, and Robert's Retro Gaming. And if I've missed anybody, I'm going to be reading them out in a moment, so you'll see them and hear about them. So sorry if I have missed anybody. If you put something in my game blog, I'll try and remember to go back there, but sometimes prepping a blog and all that sort of stuff, you forget sometimes that you got to go into other things that you've done to see. But here we go. We're going to read out the stuff now. They're not in any particular order. This will be quite short because it's Christmas and most people are not thinking about writing a comment in a blog that was a week ago. Do you see what I mean? They'll be prepping their presents, spending time with their family. They're not interested in this, and that I totally get it. So to all these people, thank you so much. I mean, they were really thinking about me, and that makes me feel very warm inside. So thank you. Jambon is the first one. He says, "Hi Del, thanks for another excellent vlog. Enjoyed listening to this while wrapping presents. Hope you and your mum had a good Christmas. I might be weird, but the second Christmas day is over. I no longer feel remotely festive and just want to get back to normal. But I'm pleased to be off work, I guess. Question, please, if you don't mind and haven't been asked before, this one is inspired by having to use up the remaining sprouts. Can you, or your viewers, recall any memorable occasions?" I've just read forward, sorry. "When you or someone you know have suddenly or intentionally broken wind. I remember our French teacher once accidentally let one rip whilst writing on the blackboard, much to our amusement. Feel free to ignore if this question is too immature for such a highbrow channel. Highbrow channel, my arse. Jesus. Take care and all the best." What a question. Absolutely fantastic. You see, you got to have someone like Jambon just to put a little bit of fun. It's not always about me. It's like, hey, do you have a memory about this or something? It happened to me. It was funny. Absolutely brilliant. And to answer that, I've known many teachers do that. And I tell you what, those teachers also blame the people at the front or whatever for doing that. "You did that. You don't do that, you naughty boy or naughty girl," and all that sort of stuff. We had that at primary school all the time. Not so much, I don't think, secondary school. A bit more sterner there. But yeah, the teachers did that a lot, I think. If you were to put this on Family Fortunes, we asked a bunch of teachers, if you ever farted in class, did you blame the students for doing that fart? Yeah. Broke wind. Yeah, of course they bloody well did. There'd be that. I'd have put that number about 70 something, right? Have I had an occasion of it other than school? Yeah. I remember being in line to get a COVID jab. Don't know if you remember back in the day when we had to go and get our COVID injections. And we got our call up and we had to go in and we were in a line and they had all the cubicles there for you to have your injection. There was, I think, two or something that you had. In that line, there was a person who let rip. Oh, and it smelt. That was bad. And we all looked at each other and going, "Oh, that's bad. That's foul." Oh dear, that's awful. I have to put my hand on my heart on this one and say, I've let one rip. I was having an MRI scan. And you are laying flat and they're out there going, "Stay still, won't you, Del boy?" "Yeah, okay, I'll stay still, yeah." And I'm there going, I feel like I've got to break wind. I can't keep it in. It's like I've got to stay still and all this, and I let it rip. And I tell you, because it's a perspex bottom with, it's almost like lying in a sunbed. It didn't smell or anything. Well, I didn't smell it, but yeah, I let one rip. There was no one in the room. Wasn't going to interfere with anybody. If it smelt, they had to come in and see if I was all right. That's probably when they smelt it. But hey, I've done it. Teachers have done it. People do it. It's force of nature. Brilliant question. Thank you so much, John. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Thank you so much for making me laugh. Right, second one, and I need a sip because I've just noticed who it is. It is the sermon according to Denny, my friend Denny. And he'll have some things to say, so here we go. Hello, my friend, and Happy New Year to you and your mother. Firstly, I'd like to add I didn't open my present from you until Christmas Day, as requested, and thank you so much for your wonderful gift. You look like you enjoyed yourself opening presents from your friends. Next year, I'll have to wrap them in Christmas paper. It makes it look more official. Yeah, every single one of mine came, no Christmas present wrapping or anything like that. That's fine. And I probably took it to the max as well because there was stuff that I ordered and they were all coming in and mixed up. and I put the ones that I thought weren't ones I ordered under the tree. And I steadfastly refused to open them. And I would only open them on Christmas Day. So it was just one of those things where I wanted people to see my face and see how happy and appreciative I was. Thank you very much for all of those. Thank you to both you and Ian for the Christmas Humbug Extravaganza. That's what we did on the Monday. What a brilliant night. Thanks to everyone that joined in with their comments. Everyone made it very special. They did indeed. Thank you very much. And that's a thank you from me as well. Absolutely wonderful. We had a great time. 5 hours. Just talking about Christmas. My God. It's all out of our systems by then. We were all happy. I'm pretty sure I was happy that week because I got all that crap out of my system. You bastards for doing that at Christmas. You don't do that anymore at Christmas. Blah, 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 blah. We had a great time. The Del Boy rant was definitely in effect that night. So brilliant. So Christmas has come and gone. As we head to a new year, can't help feeling that every festive season, a little bit of it diluted and becomes less magical. Yes. Though the high streets looked busy, you can tell retail is definitely going to post terrible results in revenue. I just hope it doesn't mean people will lose their jobs. Walsall town centre is totally decimated with so many shops which have been boarded up. One indoor arcade area where Debenhams used to be has 0 shops open. Rumour has it the council are down on shopping and more on community hub areas within town centres. Total lunacy. Same thing happening here, and it happened a long time ago, I'm afraid, Denny. We had Marks and Spencer's move out of town, Debenhams move out. Shops are either still empty or they use them at Christmas to do one-off shops that are there for a month. And one whole particular area of our whole shopping centre has turned into an eatery area where it's independent shops that sell sweets, burgers and all of that sort of stuff. They're like market stalls, but inside a shopping centre. It looks awful. I don't like it. It's a total waste. And it's a shame. But the councils don't care. And yet they have to promote this better because they built onto our shopping centre after waiting 25 years for the council to do it. And they've built a second story where it is just a cinema and an eatery, right? And therefore that should have promoted people to come in for the cinema and then go out and do shopping. But the shopping is decimated. Totally. And why is it? Amazon. I mean, we can always just turn around and give Amazon as a bad name, but we all do it. Most of us, I dare say, have got Prime accounts. And I tell you what, we don't use our Prime accounts enough. Remember, there is Prime Gaming, there is Prime Shopping, there is Prime electrical and all sorts of stuff. Not just stuff that you do your shopping. They actually give you stuff for wine and games. I didn't know about Prime Gaming till last year. You go in there and you get free games every month. You just go into your Prime account, go to gaming. You go there and it'll say, click on this free game, click on this free game, click on this free game. I get 30 games every month. And people don't know about it. You know, it's ridiculous. But they don't, I do think they bury their stuff. They don't tell you about all the things that you can do. But yes, the one thing that they do, and we know they do, is everybody goes there, does their shopping, and Curry's, Comet, and all of those places, dead. Gone. Well, I don't know why I mentioned Comet. They went years ago. But Argos must be finding it difficult. Curry's, PC World, even Iceland and Sainsbury's must be finding it, and Tesco must be finding it difficult because they now do our Amazon food shopping. So, yeah, it's decimated by Amazon, to be quite honest. He continues, though, less said about the Christmas markets, the better. Same old stuff year in, year out. Watered down beer costing £8 a time. Sausages and wooden toys. How interesting. Not. Definitely seen footfall drop off big time. Yeah, we had a Christmas market when Jambon came to see me. And to be quite honest, there was a few people there. It was a nice thing to sort of like go around while he was around. We didn't have much time, but he went away with some of my town's specialist food. My town is named after a particular cake that, well, they do a particular cake with my town's name in it. They went away with some of those. I don't know whether they liked it or not. But, you know, there was mulled wine, there was stuff that you could buy, loaves, proper bits of cheese that you could buy. Obviously, everything was expensive. That's the downside of it all. A market is supposed to be a cheaper place to get your stuff from other than the big stalls. Nah. Anyway, then I'm hearing Rachel Reeves is taking 45p from every pound from charities. Not 100% confirmed, but they're okay with freezing pensioners. It wouldn't surprise me. No, yeah. Well, we all know about the government. I'm not a big fan of that. And you know I said this was going to happen. And it did. So there you are. You finally got around to watching Flash Gordon, that you got me from HMV from your visit to Birmingham with Jim Jam. Me and my old man really enjoyed it. That's great. I bought you that as well because I knew you were getting a new telly, and I think that one had bright, vibrant colours. You haven't mentioned whether the picture quality was great or not. I hope you're loving your new TV, matey. It was a pleasure. And of course, the Christmas gift that I got also is a 4K film, and I hope you enjoyed that as well. Loved your trailers this week. It's a Wonderful Life has been in the news. One of the big streamers, now confirmed as Prime, cut a very important section from the film, though it may be down to copyright. This and Doctor Who, what next? Moral of the story, buy physical media. Absolutely. I've got that film on 4K. It's a steelbook as well. I've got a number of these. National Lampoons I've got on 4K. Scrooged I've got on 4K. I don't need to see them on TV. But it's nice to see that other people, if they haven't got physical media, they are able to watch them. I will say that. I'd rather somebody watch something than not. The Holdovers is on Sky Cinema. Thanks a million. Will definitely watch this festive film. Maybe one to add to my collection if it's as good as it looks. And it is, matey. My God, what a film. Wee Bob Art and I love that film. I finally got that as a present, by the way, from a family member. So that's why you didn't see the unboxing of it. But I did get that for Christmas, and absolutely fantastic. It's got one of my favourite stars in it. I'll show you that a little bit later on. Question for this week. If there's one thing you could change about the film and retro game community, what would it be? Signing off, wishing everybody the best for the new year. Oh my God. One thing. It'll never happen. Film. I wanted to tell a story for the character and the story's sake. Not for any political agenda or for ethnic reasons. Right, I'm sick of this Jane Bond period dramas that have to have some disabled person in it or whatever because it says that 5% of your workforce need to be this, that, and the other. You do something because it was written that way. You do something like that because it's a period piece, and that is there a reflection of how it would have been back then. If you're an actor and you're good enough, you do it for the actor's reason for having it there. Yeah. And all this political agenda and all this wokeness and all of that sort of stuff, get rid of it. I'm a bit old. I'm a bit tetchy about it. I'm just fed up with it. I don't know when it comes to, I mean, Mamemeister hates the word retro anyway, but we're talking about the classic community of playing games and all of that sort of stuff, and classic computers. One thing that you don't like about it. I like it because I like people to show off something I haven't seen. If it's something I have seen, I'm a bit more restrictive of it. You know, I'm a bit more, I hope you've done your research. And if they haven't done their research, it really annoys me. It's probably why I like Mamemeister so much, because he does his research. He knows it. He's been around it. He's lived it. He's basically read the magazines of it back in the day, and he can basically look back and portray that as a knowledge thing in front of you. If you're new to it, fair enough, but it's when somebody does a retrospective of it and doesn't do the research, I'm going, you bastards. Christ, don't you know anything? You know, it's like that. If you're going to do a retrospective of something, do the research. If you're just going to play it, that's fine. Don't mind that. First time you've seen it, played it, you shit at it. Well, who gives a shit? It's fun. And I'm glad that they found something for them to do. But it's when people try to show that they know what they're talking about and you know that they don't. I don't like. I get things wrong. Don't get me wrong. And it could be because I read something that was wrong, or I twisted my words when I was trying to explain it. My brain is going a little bit now. I used to be as sharp as a tack on everything. And the one thing that I could turn around and say, look, I've got no looks, I'm fat, but I got a brain. And now, if you take the brain away, I've got nothing. And it's why I want to collaborate. There's, it gets more difficult, but if something then suddenly sparks, I go, why haven't I talked about that? That's where I'm happy. Because that memory will come back and I'll then go, oh, I explained that wrong. And I could do it again. You see, in a blog, it's very easy, blog-wise. There you go, matey. I hope that answers the question. Fantastic question. Happy New Year, my friend. You've been a supporter of me. Fantastic. What can I say? Can't think of anything bad ever to say about Denny. He's like a brother that I never had. Do you know what I mean? There's only a couple of people I feel that way about. Steve's one, Mamemeister's one, Robert in many ways, and there are many others, that are really, really close to me now. Most of them are reading comments that I'm just about to say now. So absolutely fantastic. He's got his own channel. Please look at the description if you can. Salute, my friend, and we move on to Wee Bob Art. Wee Bob Art's fantastic bloke. He's got his own channel. Fantastic artist, graphic artist. He hasn't talked about Rebel 8. I need to check that. Last year, 7 came out, and I got it on an extremely cheap price. I don't know whether the new one's out and it's cheap again. I'd like to know if it is. I need to check that. I will do. But anyway, Wee Baba, here we go. He says, great to listen along again. I really should type a comment when I listen, as I forget stuff. Let me just turn that phone off. I do apologise. I keep forgetting to do that. I've been really bad just recently. There we go. It's off. So again, I'll start again. Great to listen along again. I really should type a comment when I listen, as I forget stuff. Thanks for answering my weird question, though, as I did, LOL, at your answer. Holdovers is probably in my top 10 movies now, and we watched it as a family the other night. My kids really enjoyed it too. Anyway, hope you had a lovely Christmas. I'm away to watch the rest of your 5-hour stream that you did with Denny and Ian. It was 5 hours. He continues, I got some sad news about a guy from work who had retired from work a few years ago. I worked with him for about 7 or 8 years. Anyway, the reason for saying that is to put a positive spin on it. This guy didn't have many outlets or hobbies, and he was fairly young. I think YouTube has that positive influence on people. It does for me, and I feel like I have people I could talk to if I needed. I feel it does the same for a lot of creators, and just wondered your thoughts on this. There are other things other than YouTube, though. Local to me, there is a men's shed club, which is designed for anyone, including ladies, to go and usually learn some hands-on skills. Or in Alan's case, that once a month computer club probably has that positive effect on giving people a bit of social interaction. Anyway, hope you and your mum are doing good, and all the best for the new year ahead. Wow! What a block of text that was. And he was talking about a guy that died and how YouTube has a positive influence on people. Absolutely, my friend. My thoughts on that? I got onto YouTube very late. I actually got onto YouTube very early from an observer point of view, very late from a point of view of standing in front of a camera and doing something, right? And it was Panther. I haven't mentioned him in a long time. I hope he's having a great Christmas. He's probably not watching this. We don't talk that much anymore. And Mamemeister doing a 12-hour charity stream. And I remember going on there, and at the end of it, and I came away sweating, by the way, I was scared to death. They said, what a nice guy. And boy, he can talk for England. And something happened to me at work where I was off work for a year. And I needed an outlet, something to keep my blood pressure down. And YouTube was it. I basically had no one to vent to. You see what I mean? There was no point talking to my mum. There was nobody else. And they weren't going to call me to find out how I was every day. So I needed a vent. So YouTube became the vent. But it also became the legacy that it's supposed to be, which is for my nephew and niece. So that year, the first year, was a very important one, but one that was probably very shouty. If you ever do go back to those first, 52 YouTube videos that first year, full of spite and anger a little bit. A year where you could see there were weeks where I was having a bad time and I just didn't shave, couldn't care less what I looked like. And then times where I was having a great time, I'd shaved, I put new clothes on, and I felt great. I'd cut my hair, I looked presentable. And it was sort of like a scientific experiment, like Big Brother, really, to a while. So, yeah, very, very positive. And it's reached out to friends that I've actually met. That's the goodness from it all. It's bad in other ways. You know, you come across friends that you thought were friends, but they're not. They hide behind a pretense. But saying that, they're not bad people. It's just that they probably just don't want to offend or hurt you. You know, you have to understand that you think you're going to get on with people. You think that you've got a commonality, but really you haven't. You learn it as you go along. And at some point you just want to go, do you know what? I'd just rather you be a person that I used to know by watching rather than know you for talking to you and, you know, the left, right and centre. And from that point of view, you feel disappointed, they feel disappointed, and you go away just disappointed. You know what I mean? But hey, you live and learn these things, and it's probably harder to find online than if they were standing next to you. If they were standing next to you, you'd learn quicker because of their body mannerisms and stuff. I think it's difficult sometimes electronically to learn that. So, but from my point of view, I love everyone. I love them still. Love those people that I've met and I don't talk to anymore. They're still in my thoughts. I still want them to do well. I don't want to... I'm not a hate person. I'm a person that, you know, if these things happen, I just move away from. You know, in fact, actually, one of the first things that I said to everybody I've actually met, I've said, do you know what? The only thing I want from you is honesty. If there's something that I've said that you don't like, tell me about it. If I do it that too many times, then basically I understand you go away. I'll tell you what I don't like is when they don't tell you what you did wrong. That's what do you learn from that? Have you ever been for a job interview? You had the interview, and at the end you find out you didn't get the job. You ask the question, was it something I said at the interview I'd like to improve my mannerism? And you get nothing back. That's where you learn nothing. You don't know what you did. And so you probably carry it on into the next interview. Well, I carry that on then into my life. So it's that sort of thing. I respect people that point out, you're too much this way. Back off, you know. So, you know, what could I say? We Bob Art, thank you so much. YouTube, such a positive thing. Love your channel. Hope you get more people subscribed to you. I'm going to continue to watch. I need to learn to draw. I'm absolutely... Do you know, I've got so many touch things and pens. Even my phone that I've just talked about, look, that was ringing. It's got a pen on there for me to draw. My God. Everything I've got. My laptop here has got a pen. You know, apart from the monitor in front of me that's not touchscreen, most of my life is touchscreen. So there you are. So salute, my friend, and we move on to, oh, here we go. I've just been talking about him, Steve's Gaming. What can I say about Steve's Gaming? He's put, hi, Dell. Drop in the comment now, as I might forget once I get into Christmas, and fill myself to bursting with pop, crisps, and chocolate. I like that word, pop. Americans, he means soda in America, right? Okay. Anyway, great blog as always. I know I've said it before, but it's true. Your blog is the highlight of my Sundays. I really look forward to it, but hey, no pressure. If you're not up to it sometimes, then we'll understand your health is more important. I'm glad that your return to work has gone okay. I know that you were worried about that. You continue, £85 for aftershave. Crikey, I'm glad I don't shave. I have a beard and I hate it, but the wife likes it, so it stays. Now, mate, I'm going to show my ignorance now, but I'm curious, why a cockerel? ? Does it taste different than the usual hen? ? Right, cockerel. Because my mum chose it. Does it taste different? Yes. It's a bit of a stronger taste. It's sort of gamey. What's the best word for it? You know how some people will turn around and say they had duck or something like that. It tastes different. It's I dare say it's because it's it's a male hen, and that means it's different. It eats the same things. It's a similar type of animal, but it's a male version. So yes, it does taste different. I can't explain it any more than that. My mum just loves cockerel, and she has chicken all the way through the year. She likes something a little bit stronger in taste. There you go. But my mum can't get away from not loving a bit of topside beef. She loves beef. My God, my mum. So we have cockerel. Simple as that. More expensive as well, just so you know. We don't like turkey in this house. We, again, a cousin, isn't it, I suppose, turkey to chicken. But it tastes different, doesn't it? We don't like it. I think my mum says it's a bit dry. I know you can it's probably the way she cooks it or whatever, but we find it a bit dry, bland. There you go. Just us. Now the questions you put. Question 1. How do you approach the new year? On New Year's Eve, do you look forward to a coming year or dread it? I personally dread it and fear what might come this time around. I can't help it. It's just the way I think. I don't know, because this year's going to be different. I dreaded it before. All I thought was it's another number gone by and I'm closer to another birthday where I'll be adding to the numbers I've already got. I've had a heart attack this year. I look forward to next year because I'm hoping that my health improves, my weight comes down, and I enjoy life again. A heart attack meant that I could have gone at any moment, and it really does alter you. At least for, I think, 6 months. It might go away. But I think now every day is being a new day, and a day where things could change that you think currently negative about. You could turn it to a positive. Yeah, lots of things. So, after I had my heart attack, I was getting my teeth fixed. So my teeth are now better. With the tablets and my heart done, I can now walk further. That means I've got the opportunity to lose weight. It's all a matter of mind, getting myself into that mind. Now, get your work correct, and you're basically cooking on gas all of a sudden. And things that were negatives are suddenly turning into positives. And you think to yourself, roll on the new year. Do you know what I mean? But last year, it's going to be more of the same. I'm back in the same job. They all think negative about me. My friends are a stable point, but I wish I could do more with them. I don't feel needed. I don't feel wanted. I'm putting pressure on them to make me feel needed and wanted. All of that sort of stuff. And that stuff I've thrown away. Right? So, roll on the new year. Forget last year. Don't even talk about 2024. It's digitally now in my videos. If I want to think about it and know what was going on, as far as I'm concerned, write it off. And that's what I'm going to do, I think. I'll take the experiences away, but go in a different direction in the new year. So there you are. That's how I think of that. Question 2, from your really enjoyable gaming series, which of our games did you love the most? And which ones did you hate the most? By the way, on a separate topic, Christmas wrapping paper. He's going to have a rant now. I bought a roll and it's shit. It's that plastic film covered crap and you can't rip it or tear it. The only correct way to open Christmas presents is to tear the paper off. Bollocks to this film covered shit. Okay, moan over. You asked a question. I've still got it here. I can only really answer the first 4 because I'm doing a reprise of my videos for you. So you gave me Dark Tower, Commodore 64, Dan Terrific, Spectrum, Ghouls, BBC-B, Hercules, C64, Kings Valley, MSX, Jungle Trouble, Spectrum, Gem Chaser, Spectrum, Janky Joe in Retroland, Spectrum. Now, the retrospective is not to show off what were my favourite games, but to make it fun, probably by showing ones that I die a lot in. Let me see. Dark Tower. It was all right. Nothing brilliant graphic-wise. It was bloody hard. I think it showed a good, challenging game for the year it came out. Because I think it was a early Commodore 64 game, wasn't it? Wasn't that an 83, 84 game? Dan Terrific, your second game you gave to me. You bastard. With that game. Deaf. Graphics lovely. Sound great. Challenge. Oh, to the point of me wanting to throw the machine out the window. Liked it. What can I say? Ghouls, BBC-B. Already knew about this one. As soon as I got it, I just went, another game you want to be a bastard over. A hard game. As soon as I found out you didn't need to eat all the dots and you just needed to get to the top of the screen, it became easier for me to understand. And that ghost that sort of like is slow is just random. Usually it's in a good spot. If you don't die, if you die on that screen, it's random wherever it could be. And from that point, you've got a hard time. So try and do that level with the first life, I tend to find. Don't know what it is. That might be just the way the code is, but I think it's a random place it puts it because it even draws it in the middle of blocks, platform blocks. Weird. Hercules, just a hateful game. I know some people love it. I hate it. Well, see, I'm using that word hate again. I dislike it. I dislike it because I find it too difficult and unforgiving. It's the unforgiving nature that I don't like about it. I don't mind a game you learn, and you do learn in that game, but I'd have to learn for about 18 hours. There's so many screens, there's only one path, and therefore you've got to learn every screen. It's not really therefore a skill. It's a memory game. So I like a skill game, a game which has got a bit of skill in it. Don't find there's any skill in Hercules. Not really. Kings Valley, loved it. That's just pure pleasure arcade game. Fantastic. Jungle Trouble. Oh yeah, I remember that. That little stick man having to go past them crocodiles and chop that tree down. No, that's one I can put in the don't like column. Gem Chaser. I learnt to like that one. That's got a skill, and it's a challenge. But bloody hell, it's a challenge. That time, I don't go really for games with clocks in much, but I understand the need for them to be there. So in some ways, my skill has to adapt to the clock, and the puzzle element you learn quite easy because you do it so many times. It's repetition. Great. Janky Joe in Retroland, I enjoy, but I could soon never play it again. Do you know what I mean? And I think I chose Janky Joe just because the death sequences and it was fun. It was all these different screens are based on arcade machines or games that we used to play in the past that made me go, do you know what? I'm going to come back to that one and show that off in my retrospective. And so that's why I did that. I don't know if I can go down all these. It'll take me forever. Ponder, he gave me a load of games that I love. Out of those, I would say the one I liked the most was probably, Lunar Outpost or Laser Zone. When it comes to Denny, Easy, and Cipital, and Starpost, those two, absolutely fantastic. And we get to Robert, and the game I like the best from him, there's three of them, either Dreadnought, Man Goes Down, or Buried Bucks. Yeah, those three. Electrician's a good game, don't get me wrong, but I think I like the others more. The others you're going to see a little bit later on when I do the last four in my part 2. So thank you so much for that. Brilliant. I wish you and your mum an exceptional Christmas, and I hope you both have a time to remember. All the best, mate. No, thank you so much. You're a fantastic bloke. You're almost like a brother to me. Fucking hate you, you little sod, you bastard. I fucking hate you. Your channel is just too good, you shitty little bastard. Love you, mate. Have a great one yourself. Let's hope next year things turn around for you for the better, like I'm hoping it is for me. That's all I can say to you. My fingers are crossed, but I know it's in you that things have got to improve. They can't be like 2024. It's just too much to think like that. Brilliant. Salute, my friend. We move to Martroid. He's got, hi Del, thanks for another great blog. Wishing you and your mum all the best for the festive season. The video for another Brick in the Wall part 2 definitely caught my attention as a young kid. Gerald Scaffs was the man behind the artwork for the album tour and eventual film, and wow, what a talent. Yes, indeed, it was the artwork that drew me into another Brick in the Wall. The tune's great, it's catchy, it's got kids singing. Back in the day when I heard that, I was into things like probably Adamant and all of that sort of stuff. Scar was just coming out. It was just it's got that march, it's got a dull marching beat, but with a choral set of chords that I basically listen to and appreciate more as I become more orientated to playing keyboards and stuff again. So fantastic. Just have a swig. And we move to my friend Colin Jones, aka Ponder. See what he's got to say. He's put, am I bad for hoping for a high inflation rate for February? My next pay rise will be directly linked to it. You're not bad. I think a lot of people don't want that for obvious reasons. But sometimes you have to think of yourself, don't you, Colin? And you've got a family and you've got to live. And if everything is linked to inflation and a higher inflation means a higher wage packet for you, then go for it, matey. just think of the others that doesn't happen to, and just understand that they're in a different situation. So if they negatively talk about it, don't instantly promote how it is for you. It's that hurts some other people. Just be mindful of that. I know that you wouldn't anyway. It's just a thing that came into my brain when I was thinking about it. You've continued. I've put a more accurate portrayal of the German attacker in Discord. I'd probably get that comment removed if I posted it here. It's up to you, of course, if you choose to read it here. Well, I do read things that are here, and it's not actually here for me to discuss. But the other thing I think about is that all we need to know is that a person caused dismay, killed people, used a car to do it, and it was absolutely atrocious. The background of who did it, why he did it, all of that sort of stuff, it's been expressed, it's in the news. I don't need to repeat it again. So I'm going to use my own decision of not relaying that. Not because what you put was a distress to anything. It's just, it was a bad thing. And we all know it was a bad thing. So we don't need to go any further with it. That's pretty much all I need to say on it. That's all. And I know that you'd appreciate that as an answer. I think anybody would understand that. That's because that's the type of guy you are. You know, you've given me the choice. So there we are. Hard to put myself in your shoes, but try not to reflect on what could have been and focus more on what you've accomplished. I know your mum has said this, sending her my best wishes, and she's absolutely right. You can't change the past, so there's no point dwelling on it. Just think about the future, which is a lot brighter since you're up. I know there are other issues, but we all deal with it the best we can. You don't do too badly, in my opinion. Yeah, and I give you an answer, didn't I, matey? I put hi, Colin. A quick answer, as I always read the messages out verbatim if I can. It is hard not to think of what could have been, but always remember that the vlog is a diary. It lists thoughts and feelings at the time. We all have fleeting thoughts we don't act upon. So some of my monologues are emotional and are at the time. I hope that makes sense. Because I do want to express that the blog is a instant reaction type thing, you know, where if you thought about it, the instant reaction is the wrong reaction. You'd think deeper and have a better understanding of it and give a better answer. The nice thing about a blog is that you get an instant response and you can then debate about it. From my point of view, I hope my character and my actual being indicates that I'm not that type of person that thinks negatively all the time. I have to express the negatives because they are how I'm feeling at the time. But the following week, you'll probably see a different persona, a person who doesn't even think about that anymore. And that's how I am. I haven't been to a works Christmas do since I started there, and I'd much rather stay at home given the crowd anxiety. Yeah, I feel a little bit the same, but I do remember having good Christmas do's and ones that used to be in the office around people that I work with directly in that office. Now, all the people I work with are scattered around the country, and if they do have a Christmas do, you have to travel to London to be in it. I think that's a negative. You're leaving other people out that can't be there. They did equally amount of good work. You're saying to them, travel to London and you'll be appreciated. Don't travel to us and tough shit is not really the right message. And so therefore I think sometimes, why don't you one year meet us halfway and travel halfway up the country so we can all join there? And I bet you any money that they would all come up with their excuses. Oh, I can't make it because it's not in London this year, and I can't travel because I need to be home. Which is the excuses that we have to give because we can't travel to London. It's like that. You have to sometimes think, do you know what? You're not being fair. 5 years in a row of London do's, not one close to where I live, is not great. So that's how I look at those. I'm just trying to find where we were. Yeah. I don't take photos or make videos of everything we've got for Christmas, and neither do I list things. I do show one or two things, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to afford Christmas without going into any debt. And I know others might not be doing so well. So I respect that and keep it mostly to myself, which is how it should be, really. Yeah. And you'll notice that the stuff that I put at the end are things for which is the blog side of things for my nephew and nieces. They're not to show the wealth. They are to show, hey, look, got this film, got it on steelbook. It's going to be over there. When I'm dead, if I go, you'll know this was a film I enjoyed or didn't enjoy. By the way, it might be worth some money. It's in a steelbook. That's what that's about. It's not about, oh, look at this big box I've just bought. No. It also promotes the fact that if somebody else likes that type of film, they know it's out there and they can go and buy it. I know that the one thing that I've appreciated about you, Colin, is sometimes you'll tell about a piece of hardware. You'll talk about a Pi Amiga card, and I'll be going to myself, I don't listen to the bit, oh, it cost 85 quid and all of this sort of stuff. What I think about is, what does it do? Oh, where did you get it from? Oh, I wonder if that's something that I could use. That's me. I don't look at it from a point of view of, oh, bloody hell, he says he's got no money. He's just spent 85 quid on a memory card that goes in the back of his Amiga. Rich bastard. That's all I think about. Oh, look at them joysticks that he's got. And he turns around and says he's got no money. No. I don't think any of that. None of that. What I do like is people... Mamemeister bought, a Steam Deck, right? And I'm going... 500 quid, 500 quid for that. But when he showed it off, I went, I can actually see now the positives in it. Wonder if I can save up for that. And mentioning things like the telescope that I want to buy has got an instant reaction from people that people have come back to me with, which is not about you rich bastard when you consider everything's poor. They've actually come back saying, oh, did you know that you can actually buy a Celestian version of that and it's a bit cheaper? Or be aware that it's the aperture and the sensor that's going to make this work for you. Or all of that sort of stuff. People are coming back with positive comments about the reason for buying it and reasons for not buying it. And it's making me go, ooh, should I wait? Should I not? Should I get it? Are they working on a newer version? Is there a version that's better than it that I'm not thinking about, that hasn't been reviewed? Should I look on YouTube? It makes me think. It's not about, oh, this guy's got 500 quid that he can spend on this. He's a rich bastard. No, I'm not rich. You look at the back here. If I was rich and had my own house, all that sort of stuff. I live within the means. And I pay my bills and pay my taxes. And if I fancy something that boosts my hobby, I do it. If it's something that I think other people that's got a similar hobby to me can see about it, great. That's all that's about. I'm reading actually a lot and deliberating on a lot of things that you're saying here, Colin, so I hope you don't mind that. I've not seen the Christmas lights in Cardiff this year. They're all to the north of the station and our building is to the south. I've just not gone out of my way to check, and now I'm off work until New Year's Day. Maybe you'll go and look at them now, matey. I don't know. I do know this. My town's got Christmas lights in. I didn't see them switch it on. I don't know if any celebrity came to turn them on. But I have had to travel a couple of times into town, and I remember I did that with my mum to get them meat, and they look lovely. Do I think that they shouldn't be there and my town should save money and start doing things on the roads? Absolutely. But I also think about the kiddies that want to see the big tree with the lights on and be proud of their town and walk past it while they're doing their shopping with their mums and dads. So it is one of those things where I go, do you know what? They chose that decision. I'm not going to deliberate against it. Absolutely brilliant. I don't set the teleprompter up permanently. I'll take a pic next time. I have it set up to show you what I mean. Thank you very much, matey. That's absolutely brilliant. I have to say, mine always needs to be in a permanent position because I couldn't set it up each time I wanted to do my blog. Most of my time I'm doing little gamey things. I'm doing my blog. I've got an overhead. I'll take a picture of mine. You'll see it's a lovely setup. Don't get me wrong, it's like the Starship Enterprise. Looks like, do you know what I mean? With all the screens and everything that I've got up. But I just can't find where to put this. And it was given me. So I want to use it. I think I just need to move my monitor up and it'd fit. But that would require me taking both monitors off again, adjusting the stand, lifting that back into its place higher, and then putting it in. And that's a lot of work. And sometimes impromptu is great. I keep thinking I'll use it when I'm doing my statue reviews, or if I'm doing a review on something else. I think I'll have it there. I think it's going to have a place for itself. I mean, remember, it's just here. Just here. It's not going anywhere. And it's got a stand. It's got one of these twisty stands. I can alter the legs and all that. And it's got a bracket for me to put it onto my proper tripod. So, yeah, it's going to come in useful. I just got to find where to put it. You then continue with just one little line. Muppet Christmas Carol, a true Christmas classic. Both agree, and I think a lot of people out there will think that the same. Happy New Year to you and your mum. My friend, thank you so much for your support. Happy New Year to your sons, yourself, your kittens and cats, everything. Love you to death, mate. So knowledgeable, always wanting to help. You're not that type of person that I've met through the years that has got a piece of information and they keep it to themselves and don't want to pass on that knowledge. They want to look like a god and make us think that they're brainy and know where everything is. I know that if we ask you, you'll legitimately help. If we don't ask you, you'll sometimes come forward with that information. Me, I always come forward with the information regardless. I don't shut my mouth up. Maybe that's a trait I shouldn't have. But I do know that you're just a lovely person that will always be willing to help, and that's how I'll always think of you. So, my question, do you have any New Year traditions that are personal to you? Not the typical ones everybody does, but those that you've decided you want to do for yourself. Absolutely not, matey, I don't. New Year to me is another year. I don't try to make a New Year's resolution. I did in the past. For 20 years of my life, my New Year's resolution was always the same. And that was do things differently to last year, because last year that didn't work. So do it differently next year, because then hopefully it will work. And that was pretty much a crappy resolution, because it's a cop-out. Basically, it's just saying you did shit last year, do better next year. Not necessarily was it anything to do with a resolution or a thought that you had in your head. You just need to adapt things you can't change. That's what some of the things that could have been the reason why things didn't work. So I'm thinking differently. And, you know, I'm not going to be losing weight because I want people to look at me and go, you handsome devil now. I'm going to do it for me, for my health. That sort of thing. I don't know what makes, what is a good hairstyle for me. I don't know what a good skin cream is that I could be using. I just wash my face with soap, wash my hair with shampoo, and then when I go in to have my hair cut, I just say, make it look tidy, please. I have no idea. And all I'm saying is some people find that out very quickly in life and stick with it. That's great. Because New Year resolutions, I tend to find, are always about yourself. And so I therefore don't think of anything that I need to do. I think I'm on the right lines anyway. So thanks very much for that. That's absolutely brilliant, my friend. And we're getting towards the end now because we're at the last one, which is Robert's Retro Gaming. I think it's the last one. Yes, it is. And he's put Oh, salute, my friend, by the way. And please go and support Colin's channel. He's got a brilliant channel. He does his own vlog, by the way. But he also does a gaming channel. So please go and have a look. All of that is in my description. But Robert, royalty from Canada, has put, "Hi, Dad, it's been nice to listen to you again. I've only caught a little bit of the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's nice to hear that you are back at work on a reduced schedule to accommodate your recovery and physio and such. It's a busy time for you at Christmas. I'm on holiday with my immediate family, returning home late on Boxing Day. We will be having a warm Christmas day this year. I am not so attached to parties and such these days, but I do like visiting family and friends, which is what I miss. I just don't have that family and friends and going to parties then. I miss that the most. They've just moved on, probably do their own parties and don't even think about me. I'm out the equation, if you see what I mean. Out of sight, out of mind. That's the word, yeah. All the best to you and your mum, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas after all." Same to you, buddy. And I noticed that I hadn't bought you anything for Christmas, so I sent you a game. I couldn't find your name in Steam, and you came back to me and told me what it was. And I was so happy to send you something that is very similar to a game series I'm doing now. I'm doing a game called Astrometica. I've given you one called Subnautica. Same company, same developers. One's undersea, one's in space. I wanted you to try it because most of your friends are my friends, you know, so Steve and that. Steve's got the game, I've got the game. You've now got the game. We've all tried it, loved it. You haven't tried it, have a look. So you tried it on the Boxing Day, but unfortunately you were very tired, and I can understand why you were finding it difficult. I hope you go back to it. I hope you play it. I know last year Steve bought you a game and you played that for a while and all that sort of stuff. I love to buy people games and then they love it, and I find that they play it and they show the off that somebody's bought you something. That makes me feel all gooey inside, you know. I think even though you were tired, you were enjoying it. I think it will be a game that you'll get great enjoyment with as you keep discovering new things. The only thing I can say to you is, if you do watch this stream in time, is use that scanner which you had in your hand right at the beginning and then decided not to use it for the whole rest of the discovery of the game. Why? The scanner's the thing that's going to tell you where things are. Jesus, man. Did you not get that? Anyway, top tip, use the scanner and keep reading about all the ingredients that you need and start improving what you're swimming around in. You're going to need a swimming suit. You're going to need some fins. You've got the material. It's in your face. Start using it. Fantastic man. Got a great channel. He's doing No Man's Sky an awful lot at the moment. He will be back to normal, I'm sure, soon. Trying to get the Atari 8-bit stuff, the 64, the Spectrum, the SNES, all of that. He'll be back to all of that and me reading out huge lists every day of games that are coming out. He's got to get caught up. So with that, we're just going to take a quick little break and we'll be on to the end. Thanks very much. I just need to check on my mum. But we have now finished with the shout-outs and all of the comments. So we'll be moving on now to the final part of the blog. We're near the end. Won't be a moment.
And I'm back, and we're moving back to watched on YouTube. And it took a little bit longer, actually, because I was intrigued to know about Steve's games and what I'd given to him. And the little bastard said, right at the end, "Thanks for the great games." Well, no, they weren't great. Thanks for the free games. 2 of them he loved. 2 out of 3. Bastard. I mean, what can I do? Did he suffer on his last game that he loved? Yeah, he did. Good, you git. That's all I've got to say about that now after that. Love you to bits, you know that. Watched on YouTube. Not much. Been so busy with Christmas and everything. So There won't be too much to read out here. This Week in Retro only did a bloopers reel. Not really that interested in that, but it was fun. Techmoan, he did a return of the oscilloscope music. Brilliant that was. I missed it because it's been several years that he did this. He got this thing that somebody pointed out to him, that you can actually put music into an oscilloscope and it does patterns. They'd learnt what the patterns were by the sounds and brought out a tune, and it was doing things like bouncing balls and grids that were coming out. And several years later, I think it's something like 4 or 5, they did it again. And this intrigued also Colin, aka Ponder, because he pointed out something that he had done, I think, a couple of years back, or it was another channel, I can't quite remember. So sorry, Colin. But he brought out today, look at this if you enjoyed that. And I did, loved it. Didn't know about all of this sort of stuff. It was absolutely fantastic. So amazing how something that intrigued me, somebody else saw as well and added to that. And it added then to my enjoyment. See what I mean? That's where I'm talking about. This community is fantastic. Absolutely great. So that was Techmoan this week. Chronologically, gaming did less because it's approaching Christmas, and of course he's not doing anything now to the 6th of January. But he did an electronic games magazine for November, which is the year that he's in 1982, remember. So basically that was fun to look at all of the games that were in this magazine and all of the adverts and all of that sort of stuff. That was great. I loved something that came in my alert, which was Monty Python from several years ago, and they did a tune called, well, I will say it's a swear word, so please bleep if you want, Fuck Christmas. And it was Eric Idle doing what he does best, a tune all about grumpiness about Christmas. Suited me down to the ground for the bar humbug extravaganza that I listened to. Then everything has been about Steam sales, to be quite honest. Badger Plays did a series of videos saying that the Steam sale is on. These are the games that you need to buy that are under $1, under $3, under $5, under $10. I tend to look at those, look at the cheaper ones, go and look myself. If there's something there like a twin stick shooter or something, I'll generally buy it. So that was great. Then there was a person called Alex Harkonian, spelled HARKONNEN 75. 50 new Amiga games that only came out in 2024, parts 1 and 2. Very intrigued with this. I do want to download more stuff that's homebrew. So I've looked now for Commodore 64, Amiga, Spectrum, and I've started to download those and add those to my collection for my Mister. Absolutely fantastic. One game in particular I enjoyed for the Amiga was the Amiga version of Castlevania. It is different sounding wise, very close graphical wise. And that's great because Castlevania has some fantastic sounds. To hear the Amiga versions of those tunes is slightly different and sounded great. Loved it. Then there was a really interesting documentary. It came from Game Maker's Toolkit, and the video was called "The 100 Games That Taught Me Game Design." And he did shoot 'em ups, platforms. He learned about where to place platforms, how shooters work, why they are addictive, how to make them addictive, all sorts of stuff. Fantastic documentary. And then there was a documentary, or should I say, a deliberation by a team called Meta Abuse. That's it. And they said RTS, that's real-time strategy, is it a dead genre? My answer to that is it's not, but it's definitely past its day, and it's one of those ones where I feel sad about that. I love Command & Conquer, I love Total Annihilation, all of those. The real-time strategies that come out now are not the ones that I used to play.
And it's very hard to find them now in the indie side that do them the way that the old games were. They've done a few over the years, and I've picked those up. But for a genre that dominated for me in the early 2000s with my higher end PC, fantastic, loved it. Then we move on to some of my friends. Euphoria Pictures. Although I didn't watch much of him this week, he did do a solo chat, which was without his friends. And that's a scary thing to do. Every chat that I've done has been with someone. No, I have done a solo one. But it's very hard to do. Scary prospect as well. And he did incredibly well. Oh my God. What a guy. Definitely worth a sub if you can go to him. If you're ever into film and TV and want to know a little bit about horror and that sort of stuff, definitely go there. He does lots of unboxings. I tend to now look at the unboxings if it's one I've bought, because I probably won't get round to unboxing it myself for a while. We buy similar things. In fact, we're pretty much matched one for one, apart from stuff that comes from America and stuff that people send to him. I could never keep up with that. I don't get that stuff through the post to me. And I can't buy everything. So, but Euphoria Pictures, go. It's a no-brainer. Go sub. Got to go watch. Ian Hill, The Ramblings. My mate that I do stuff. We didn't do a Wednesday chat because it was Christmas Day. But we are doing one New Year's Day. But this is what he brought out this week. Oh my God. Top 5 sci-fi films 1984 to 1990. That's one a day. Package from HMV and an unboxing. Shout at the Devil review. Doctor Who Full Circle review. Christmas gifts from me. Hope you liked it, matey. Thanks very much for doing that. That was brilliant. X-Files Season 3 Episode 3 review. CD collection of The Doors. My God, man. Slow down. This is where it's difficult for me to watch every day, mate. I've got Christmas dinner planned. You're stopping me from making dinner for my mum, you bastard. No, I'm only joking. Absolutely wonderful. Brilliant. Salute. Keep doing that, my friend. Through the Lens. What can I say about my friend and Through the Lens, Josh? He did the Brutalist review, which is a Netflix film, I think. As I said, great to see his reviews because he does have an opinion. So he is a little bit like Barry Norman, but he does do it the right way and doesn't make it sound like you shouldn't go and see it. You should always make your own mind up. He's never that person that says, by the way, don't go and see this film. He never does that. It's always his opinion, how he felt looking at it. But, he's not going to force anything on you. That's what I'm trying to say. Salute, my friend. I hope you have a fantastic 2025. Mondo Chelloveck Movies. He did a 4K and Blu-ray pickups and unboxing. Absolutely fantastic channel. Person I've been following for about a year and a half. He's the go-to guy if you want to know about Laurel and Hardy beyond me. That particular documentary or video is still up. And I tell you what, it's the quintessential one if you want to know how to collect Laurel and Hardy. And I'll always say that. It's better than mine. We had a chat with Denny. We talked about the things that we liked and went into detail. But he went into where you can get it, what you should buy. My God, it was just fantastic. Salute, my friend. 2025 is going to be a very exciting time for you. Your Hammer film is on the way in 4K, and there's so many horrors, great ones, that are going to be coming out. Absolutely fantastic. Jim Jam Movies, he just did a Christmas message. Thank you, my friend. It's great that we see a couple of people just doing a Christmas message and not trying to peddle something or show something off. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. And did you see that moving on forward and forward, he did a Sonic 3 review, and he did the top 6 best films of 2024 in his opinion, and he's doing the worst as well. I think that's out now. Wasn't at the time that I was writing this, so absolutely brilliant. That's what I've watched on YouTube, but there's also stuff from people, friends that are in my Discord, in Mamemeister's Discord, all of that, and I'm just about to talk about those. So we start off with Down the Rabbit Hole. He did a Ebenezer Scrooge grave side preview in Edinburgh. Yes, he came over to England this year, went to Scotland, met my mate Mamemeister, did some other stuff. But on the way, he passed by where Ebenezer Scrooge is believed, his grave is believed to be there. Or should we say, the character that Ebenezer Scrooge is based on is there. Definitely worth a look. I mean, it's great to see anything about Scotland anyway, and see an American's point of view on it. It's old, it's great, can be a bit creepy, but always great to watch. Absolutely fantastic. So that was his video for the end of this year. Salute, my friend. Have a great 2025. Salute. And we get to Robert's Retro Gaming, where he continued his No Man's Sky episodes 15 to 17. He's probably done an 18 now. Remember, this is down to what I've actually watched and prepped for up to Saturday. And he played Subnautica, the game that I actually bought for him as his Christmas present. I hope he continues to play that. I'm not trying to peddle him to do a series on it. He might do. I don't know. He might enjoy it that much. What I will say is, give it a chance. Hope you enjoy it. I hope also that you'll come back to me and tell me how you're enjoying it. And even if you don't do videos on it, it'd be absolutely brilliant to know that I introduced something that you thought was great. Then we get to Steve's Gaming, who I've been talking about pretty much all the way through this video. Just shows you how much of a close friend he is. Oh my God. Right? He did an Advent Calendar Day 23 to 24. Volcanoids, first look. Somebody presented a game, gifted him a game for him to try. Absolutely fantastic. I get very few of those. I've done a couple. But my God, just to show you that on YouTube, you can get people that will introduce you to new things. Brilliant. He did a C64 Legends of Knocker Hole. That was a game that I didn't really like that much, but hey, it was worth watching. Fantastic. He demonstrated his new arcade stick, the Mayflash F101. I've got the Mayflash. It's down here. But I've got the arcade F500 Elite, which is a little bit more expensive. I find it a great controller. It is clicky. Don't get me wrong. You have to. If you wear a headset and your controller's under here, you've got no chance. My sound is on a boom with a sound suppressor, and OBS has got something called noise gate, not noise suppression, and you can get rid of it with some playing around. But I tend to find if you've got the sound right in the game, you won't hear it anyway. It's a matter of balance, and it's a matter of setting things up and prepping a little bit more than just instantly trying to do a video. Don't do that. If you are going to use that joystick and you are going to keep it, expect to do a little bit more setup. That's all it takes. And it's worth it in the end. You'll be playing, therefore, with a joystick that you'll love. But if it's a game you send him back, totally get it. Your choice, your money. Just letting you know that, my God, it can't be as bad as this bad boy down here. This joystick that came with the Commodore 64 large edition and mini. I mean, my God, that's clicky. Jesus Christ. But they do tell you, therefore, that it's got micro switches in it. I mean, nothing will beat my Elite controller with the paddles underneath. I mean, you can't hear it at all. I mean, it's brilliant, but it is 120 quid. You know what I mean? For a controller, it's ridiculous, really. So, you're doing brilliant, matey. So looking forward to what your products are going to be like in 2025. I hope you enjoy the game I sent you. I do hope you like the film that I sent you. You deserve every single thing, absolutely everything that you get. Thank you so much for being a friend. Then we've got Colin Jones, aka Ponder. He did a Mamemeister High Score Bubble Bobble challenge, and he did a preview sort of shot of Yomp, a game on the Amiga. Yomp has been around now for the Atari and the Commodore 64 for quite some while. It's now on the 16-bit. Not my type of game, but my God, it's spectacular, really looking for the 8-bits. Not so much for the 16-bits, but still worthy of having a go on. I've downloaded it now. I haven't put it on my Mister yet. Maybe I'll do a stream like Mamemeister does, where I demonstrate some of these homebrew games. Absolutely fantastic. Which brings me to the last person, Mamemeister. My friend Mamemeister, Alan, who texted me all over Christmas, sent me a present that hasn't arrived yet, unfortunately. Wished me well. And like I say, he's done some stuff this week. He says not a lot. My God, look at this. He's done a vintage Christmas video game footage, Mame and Lawn Boy 75 X Christmas Eve live special, 10 Amiga games that came out in 2020, and a Friday Waffle live. That's not a lot. Jesus Christ, man, settle down. That's quite a lot, matey. It's a lot of stuff you bring out and at a much higher quality than me. So don't worry about that. You're definitely keeping us entertained all through the year. And that's the end of the blog. Now, there hasn't been a lot that's arrived this week because I did my presents unboxing or opening on Christmas Day. And the only things that came through that I haven't shown off is the holdovers, which we've been talking about, which was introduced to me by a family friend who bought that for me. Thank you so much to my family. And Denny, who gave me Panic in Year Zero, which I intend to watch. It was going to be on Boxing Day, but I intend to watch it today. And so, really, there's no trailers to show. There is really just me turning around and saying to everybody out there, thank you for your support. Thank you for being friends. To the friends that out there that I don't speak to too much, have a fantastic 2025. You're in my thoughts. I want you to do well. I still respect and love you all. And to everybody else, just think about what you want in 2025 and go for it. Life's too short. If you don't do it, you'll regret it. That's all I can say about that. And I hope that everything I've said today has made sense. Some of it is just my opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean it's harsh or anything. It's the way I look at things. That's why it's in a diary. Remember, this is a diary, but it's a video diary. And with that, 2025 is going to be different. I will change things, spruce things up, take what I've been told that you'd like to have and introduce it into the next year. But it's not year 4 yet in regards to the blog. But so there will be some small changes at the beginning. And then when we get to year 4, probably a face change. It'll be like a regeneration in Doctor Who. Who knows? But until that point, salute. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.